Woo! It is a hot day here on Isla Bastimentos.
Super toasty.
In the archipelago of Bocas del Toro. Got it right this time. We're heading to the famous Red Frog Beach.
Take a little dip, cool off.
We recently found out some interesting information about ourselves that we thought we should share.
On the beach.
On the beach. We've seen red frogs here. I think so.
Yeah, I guess so. So this is the famous Red Frog Beach, and it's pretty easy to see why it's famous. There are a couple of eco resorts right on the water, so you've got restaurant and bar options, little palapas, but then you can go a little further down the beach, get your own little spot, and feel like you're secluded, alone, romantic, intimate. It's nice.
Hold on. Take my shoes off. We're on the beach.
You're not allowed to get comfortable.
One thing we haven't really had the opportunity to share over the past 8 years of travel is our family, like where we came from.
Well, like where each of us is from. And it's not that, I mean, I guess we could have talked about it. I don't know. It just never seems like the appropriate time to be like, well,
Here's more about me. Me.
But on the subject of me,
Your favorite.
I grew up in West Texas in a small farming community called Hart, Texas. And I was raised by my dad and my grandmother. I have not seen my mother since I was 3. But it was a great small population, 1,121, so it was small potatoes. But a great place to grow up.
For me, I was born in Arkansas in the Ozarks, way up. It's a beautiful part of Arkansas if you've ever been. Unfortunately, my mother and father divorced when I was like 2, so then we got moved down to Texas, Dallas area, and I got to know my father, or started to get to know my father when I was 11, 12, 13. He was a famous motocross, that's the dirt bikes on the hills. He's a famous motocross rider. And unfortunately, he died when I was 13 or 14, so I didn't really get to know him. So I've kind of missed that entire portion of my family and their history and genetics and all that stuff. So I just don't really know that much about them.
No, and then for me, because I haven't seen my mother since I was 3, I don't know anything about that side of her family at all, because I've never had any contact with them. So yeah, and I graduated from my small town of Hart, Texas, moved to Dallas to go to school.
The day after.
The day after graduation.
High school graduated?
I was kind of ready to get out of there. Small town life was not for me. I needed the big city. So I did, moved to Dallas, met this crazy guy at a Starbucks of all places.
Who knew we would have ended up really being coffee snobs 15 years later. 20 years
Who no
later?
longer drink Starbucks.
Oh yeah, 2000, that was like 2001?
2000.
Jeez. Wow,
that
we've
was
known
the
each
year I
other for
graduated.
17 years.
We're so old. Oh, now we're getting off subject. So anyway, that's a little brief snippet of how we came about. So yeah, we recently had a company reach out called 23andMe.
And the name is after the number of chromosomes found in your DNA?
Yeah, the 23 chromosomes
23.
that make up your DNA, yes. So anyway, they reached out and they said, would you be interested in taking a DNA test and sharing your DNA story? And considering both of us and our half-missing information, our half ancestry, we were really interested. Plus, on my side, you just hear, oh, I think we're part this and part that. But we don't really know.
No.
So anyway, it was definitely an opportunity for us to learn more about ourselves
and share a little bit about our story, which we haven't done. Shall we dive in?
Nope, we should. Well, no.
No, oh.
So, okay, DNA, we thought, okay, DNA test, that must mean we're gonna have to take blood samples or...
Big needles, doctor's visits, expensive.
Yeah.
$1,000 doctor's visit to take all, yeah.
But it was super simple. So we got our tests back when we were in Florida. It was really easy.
Came in a little box. You literally open the box up, there's the instructions. The biggest and most difficult part of the test is spitting.
Man, this could take forever. Okay.
Only took about 10 minutes.
That's it. It's all done off of spit, which is wild to think that that much DNA can come from spit. But it is a fair amount of spit.
It's not expensive, super simple. Then you just put it back in the same packaging, drop it off at the post office.
They do their whole scientific thing, and then 6 weeks later, you get back your result. We have our results. We've looked them over, and it's actually way more information than we originally thought it was going to be.
It's a horrible time suck, if I'm totally honest. It's like you dive in and you start reading, and then following this.
And following that, and yeah, so it's a lot of information. It's been extremely educational. Yeah, for sure. But the part that we were most interested in from the get-go was the ancestry. And mine was definitely not what I expected.
No, because you thought you were like Indian.
I did. I've always
American.
been told I'm like Native American. I knew maybe a little bit of Irish. But...
So what are you?
Good question.
What are you?
Let me look at my notes.
I'm
Okay.
a girl.
I'm a female. I am British and Irish, French and German, Scandinavian, Iberian, European, in other words, a whole bunch of European.
And believe it or not, I'm basically the same. Minus I've got some Balkan and Chinese. Chinese?
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Totally.
Nope. But apparently you are.
Interesting.
Somebody got freaky in Asia at some point.
So we differentiate in the next thing, which is called a maternal haplogroup.
Yeah. There's a bunch of scientific names, but luckily they explain everything
in detail.
Yes, very well, so it's easy to understand. But my haplogroup is H1, and then even further than that, H1I.
Mine's
anyway.
K, and K1 lowercase a 4 lowercase a 1. That's like my dialed in maternal haplogroup.
Haplogroup. The interesting thing is his is more common, even though it has the really complicated name.
You're so special.
And mine is relatively uncommon, because I'm only one in every 1,500 people.
Mine says that
Where's your number?
Oh, 160. One in every 162 of 23andMe customers.
You're so common.
So I'm like super common. I'm so normal.
So of my haplogroup, apparently they lived between 9,000 and 15,000 years ago, which is not long after the Ice Age. And so apparently what happened is all the ice was kind of shoving them out, and they were looking for warmer climates, which is why they migrated to like the Mediterranean and the Iberian Peninsula, trying to look for warmer weather. And that is where I get my heritage from.
I think we found the warmer weather.
Yeah, no icebergs anywhere near.
No. And mine, so it talks about the Fertile Crescent, if you remember from high school history. My people sat down, Siri, dang it, my people settled down, started farming, started creating communities, and then the haplogroup that I'm part of just got super diverse from there, because we're all settled, and what else do you do?
Procreate. But mine, on the other hand, was different. Mine were more of a nomadic people. They were a tribe, kind of even in parts of the desert. So it kind of makes sense as to why I'm always itching to move about.
Which makes sense why I'm always like, let's just hang out here a little bit longer.
Oh, no, we should move. We've been here too long. It's been like 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing interesting about mine, if you remember from the 90s, I better get this right. The Iceman, Ötzi, O-U-T-Z-I, was an Iceman. He was found in the Alps, and it was like a perfect specimen that was frozen, found by hikers, and it was all over the news in the 90s. I remember I was just a kid. Anyway, I'm related to him, and some it says, let's see, it was all, yeah.
You have lineage.
Yeah, he
that traces
belonged
back
to the
then.
K.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And also on my paternal line, one of my ancestors is Thomas Jefferson. So it specifically says, I also share paternal line ancestor with Thomas Jefferson.
So it's kind of cool. Yours was...
So I'm like kind of famous. I'm totally normal, but totally famous.
Yeah. Mine, it's just because my ancestry goes back so far.
You're so unique.
I'm so unique.
That brings us to travel. as we travel around the world in the sailboat, you know, we weren't sure. We don't really know where we're going. I mean, we're in Panama now, and then we'll go through the canal.
The idea is just to explore, just travel about the world, but
I feel like this gives us a little more focus. Sadly, we don't have any lineage in Australia or Thailand, because that's where we're going to get next. But this definitely makes me want to explore
your Chinese roots.
Yeah, I could go for it.
Yeah. Well, and then like the Iberian Peninsula, but for us, like once
Mediterranean?
once we make it around,
Yeah.
like sailing through Gibraltar and everything else, it mentioned like how they navigated through that area. So yeah, I kind of brings.
We'll be coming home when we get there.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I like that.
Yeah.
Coming home, going back to my roots. I dig it. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a fascinating little journey into our ancestry. We've enjoyed getting to learn more about ourselves. Yeah. So, anyway,
if you're interested in starting your own DNA journey or story, finding out more about your DNA, 23andme.com/wins.
You can go and check it out, maybe do your own DNA test, learn more about yourself. If you've already done an ancestry thing, a DNA test, and you've learned something interesting about yourself, definitely share in the comments below.
We find this all wildly fascinating, probably because it's brand new to us.
Yeah.
Just love to hear people's stories.
Definitely. We'll leave you with that because we don't want to bore you to death with details, but if you are interested, we learned we are quite the Neanderthals apparently.
There's a place in Germany called Neander, I had no idea. Which is why I'm so good at growing hair.
It's funny because mine said I would have less hair because of that. Anyway, we'll put a lot more information in the post that goes with that, so if you're curious about more of our results and what we learned,
click over to our website.
I'll put some in there.
We will put links in the description box below, anything that's interesting or that we found interesting.
Yeah, so you can check all that out. And that's that. That's a little more about us. Now, we should go get more.
Yes, definitely.
We'll leave you with lovely scenes of Red Frog Beach.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
See you on Sunday.